Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Chant A Psalm A Day. Happy Sunday. We are here on a Sunday. Yes, it's Sunday. Let me come up a little closer to the camera. Slide on there. Um, Thanks for tuning in today. I have my hawk feather, as you can see. I found this the first semester I was here. Wonderful hawk feather. As I don't know if it was around the same time I found it as right now, but yeah, finding this hawk's feather was really an eye opener. It was showing me something I didn't see at the time, but now I do. So I'm grateful. I'm thankful that you all are joining me here for Chant A Psalm today. Um, let's get this, turn this off. Okay. Oh, can you all see pretty okay? Let's turn this that way. Okay. So I'm trying to get a whole new. I was looking at my Chant A Psalms from when I first started this, and I think I really started going live with the Chant A Psalm in 2023 around this same time. Yeah, so it's been a year now I've been doing this. And yeah, I started going live around this time in December when I was in Dallas, in Denton. Um, and I started going live at that time. So it's interesting to see how a year has gone by already. Thanks for joining Chant A Psalm A Day, and thank you for liking this video. Oh, I just got a like. Thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does. Um, we're getting into this is the 1st of December, and we begin the month of December. The 4th of the month, I do Dr. Sewer's story time. So tune in for that. Subscribe to this video. Thank you for liking it. Because I'm going to be going live on the 4th and the 27th of the month. So even though I go live every day, I'm going to go live a second time on those days. I was supposed to go live on November 27th, but that was my Bubba's birthday, my little dog Respect. His birthday was the 27th, so I didn't go and do my Carla May's Chronicles of Carla May's Communication Corner. I'm trying to find a name for it. But on the 27th of the month, every 27th is when I want to have, a forum. And I want other people in too. So I'm going to send a Zoom link that you can join in on the 27th. Save those dates, the 27th of the month and the 4th of the month. So the 4th of the month is coming up. It's in a couple days, right? So yeah, tune in. I'm going to set up where I can, if you leave your email for me, I can send you a link and you can, join on the Zoom that way. So let's get the psalm going today, shall we? We have what is our psalm today? Our psalm today is 37. 37 is the psalm today. So Psalm 37, let's look at it. It's a lot of verses, actually. It is about 40 verses. So Psalm 37 today is about righteousness will not forsake righteousness. Once you're staying on that side of righteousness, you're not going to be forsaken. You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So just breathe and know that you're blessed, highly favored, and wonderfully made. So that's what it says in the Psalm 37. So Psalm 37, I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of what is righteous, what is good, kind, loving, and, forgiving. So, Ernesto Perez, blessed greetings to you. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hi. We're starting with Psalm 37 this rise. So blessed rise to you. Thanks for joining Chant A Psalm A Day. I have my hawk's feather. And it's interesting. Yes, greetings of love and tranquility with great gratitude for the Most High daily, Elsu. Thank you so much for joining Chant A Psalm A Day. We are here today. Happy Sunday, everybody, as we commune with righteousness. This is what the channel is. This is what this series, these episodes are. It's a daily dose, okay? A daily dose of the Psalm, okay? And we translate it by looking at the meaning behind these words that have been given to us, right? And what do they mean? How are these words meaningful to us? How can it give us a sense of we're going to be okay? You know? So let's get into it. Verse 1. Verse 1. Put my hawk feather down. I collect feathers, so I find them on the ground and I'm making a headdress with this. This one's going to be how about that? So anyway, the first verse is really telling us, and I love it because it says, fret not yourself because of evil people. Like, don't worry about folks that are not good, okay? Or that have done you wrong. It says wrongdoers. Be not envious of wrongdoers. Like, don't envy folks that have done you wrong and you want to get back. In other words, you know what I mean? Don't envy them. You may see them on social media. You may see them, booed up, as they call it. But don't be envious of wrongdoers. They gotten there by doing wrong things. And that's how they got to their relationship. Some people, they've cheated. It's just, I didn't know this was an epidemic. Like, people do this. But anyway, I thought we had stopped. Anyway, in verse 2, it talks about what's going to happen to these folks, okay? They're going to soon fade as the grass and wither as the green herb. Like, they're going to not be anywhere around. And what do we do? What are we out there going to do? We are going to trust in righteousness, right? We're going to trust in the Lord and do good. Surah Dochna. Okay, that's Amharic for do good. Surah Dochna. See my little thing here. So we want to trust in the Most High. Oops. We want to trust in that Most High, like totally. Okay. And do good. How do we trust in the Most High? It's an action. We have to do something. What is that? We have to do good. Bottom line. Even when good is not done to us, we have to still do it. So in verse 3, it tells us what to do. It's giving us instructions. We have to live in the land and befriend faithfulness. Like, that should be your friend. Faithfulness is your friend. Delight yourself in righteousness. Like, make yourself feel, it's light. You're delighting in a goodness and a mercy and a love and a forgiveness. You're delighting yourself in righteousness, and righteousness will give you the desires of your heart. So don't look at the desires of your heart as what you need to look for. Delight yourself in righteousness, in goodness and mercy with yourself. You are the good soil. I always say that. You are the good soil. And as the good soil, you have to delight yourself in that righteousness, not in someone else. Okay? Because that someone else may be taken away from you because you put all your marbles and your delight in that person. So we have to delight ourselves in goodness and mercy and righteousness. And even though we delight ourselves in someone, we have to delight ourselves in the goodness of that someone, right? Not the manipulative betrayal of the part of that person. We have to love the good of that person. So Delighting ourselves in righteousness and giving will give us the desires of our heart. We're going to get what we desire when we put righteousness in the front of us, the foremost front of us. Even when we may not get that outside of us, like somebody may be mean. I've talked about the vicious voicemail as an example. And thanks for liking this video. But people can maybe mean, but we want to delight ourselves in righteousness. Blessed rise, Chawa. Thanks for joining Chant A Psalm A Day. Thank you so much. How are you doing? So we want to delight ourselves in what is righteousness. That's first and foremost. So thank you for liking this video. Thank you for sharing and a comment or a kind word, and for participating by listening and sharing, basically. So in verse 5, verse 3, we see we need to trust and we need to delight. Verse 5, we need to commit. Make a commitment. Commit your ways to righteousness. Like, I'm going to do right. I'm going to walk good. I'm going to speak with my words purified in the fire 7 times. I'm going to know I'm not perfect. I'm learning. I make mistakes, but I'm going to keep seeking for that and committing to the way of righteousness, trusting in righteousness, and righteousness is going to act accordingly. So in verse 6, bringing forth your righteousness as the light, and justice as the noonday. So we see how delighting yourself in righteousness, and righteousness is this light. It's this opportunity to shed the weight of foolishness, basically. Blessed rise to you as well, Chara. I'm thankful that you look forward to this. I look forward to sharing every day. I don't know what the days ahead will bring. However, I look forward to sharing the psalm. I tell my son, I got to do the psalm. We're getting ready to do the psalm. And he brought me my tea. I finished drinking my tea. So I do a little meditation before I get started. But anyway, thank you for joining Chant A Psalm A Day and for sharing your feelings about it. And as I said when I came on, I looked at this when this started. This started a year ago. Yes, one love to all, and for all, one love. I love it. Thank you, Elsu. So I started this a year ago. This month will be a year that I started this. And I love the fact that it has grown to this point. Okay. And wherever I go in the world, I always try to stop and do the psalm. So we look at verse 7 now. There's something else we need to do. It speaks of being still before righteousness and waiting patiently for righteousness. Okay, don't fret yourself over the one that prospers in their way, over the one that carries out evil devices and is doing all these things with these devices. Don't fret yourself over those, right? People can post on social media all kinds of stuff, and then off social media they're fighting and it's just a horrible. So I don't believe what I see out there on the media, in social media, whether it's any media. So these in verse 7 is giving us an instruction. From verse 3, it's telling us what's going to happen, what we need to do. Verse 1 and 2 is telling us we don't need to fret ourselves over folks, right? Don't. That they're going to soon fade away. They're going to be gone. Don't worry yourself. And then verse 3, 4, and 5 telling us we need to trust. We need to delight in the righteousness of the Most High. We need to make a commitment to doing good. Trusting. So trust comes up again. And once we do all these things, righteousness is going to come forth as a light, and justice as a noonday. You're going to see justice, right? That's why Martin Luther King talked about nonviolent, do not fight wickedness with wickedness. Do not fight violence with violence. Fight with love, with kindness, with patience, with forgiveness. Fight with these things. That's within you. It's not outside there. So in verse 8, we see another instruction. Refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Okay, I always use the vicious voicemail, that angry voicemail. We have to refrain from that and forsake wrath. Fret not ourselves, because it tends only to evil. And when evil comes, they're going to say, oh, that person did them evil. No, you did yourself evil because you started the cursing and the evilness. So when it comes back to you, you want to blame someone instead of looking at yourself. It's hard to look at ourselves. It was hard for me, but I had to look in there to see what's happening so that I could be right. I could try to get on that road because I see the destruction happen. Good, that's about to happen. So in verse 9, it tells us what's going to happen. These evildoers is going to be cut off, like cut off. And those that wait for righteousness shall inherit the land. They're going to get the land. Once they're waiting for that righteousness, they're doing good to their neighbor, to their spouses, to their relationships. They're going to inherit security. Land is power. So, people didn't see that back then. But land is power. So those that wait for righteousness, wait for forgiveness, they wait, they're long suffering, they're waiting, right? They're alone and lonely, but they're waiting for righteousness, not for a person, but for righteousness that's within them own selves. How can you be good for someone when you can't be good for yourself? I mentioned this, a person told me that their mother, when they were 6 years old, they asked their mother, do you love me? The mother says, how can I love you? I don't even love myself. Obviously, they were in a mentally ill household with a mother who was abusing them. So my point of speaking about that is that we cannot love anyone, fully love someone, when we do not love ourselves fully. When I speak about fully, I'm talking about fully, even the things we don't like about ourselves. So we look at verse 9 as a powerful verse, like land is power. So in verse 10, in just a little while, in the Jamaican they say little, in just a little while, the wicked will be no more. Though you look carefully to look at the place of the wicked will not be there. However, verse 11 now, the meek shall inherit the land. So these powers that are fighting, violence, killing women and children, they're not going to inherit nothing. The meek is going to inherit the land. And the meek will delight in abundance of serenity and tranquility, patience and love. That is what the meek will inherit, an abundance of this. So why not err on the side of kindness? Why not err on the side of truth? Why not err on the side of humbleness? Why not err on the side of forgiveness? Someone hurt you, forgive them. It's easier said than done. So you have to work on it. You have to keep working on it every single day. So verse 12, the wicked now, they plotting against the righteous. They plotting. They gnashing their teeth at the righteous. But guess what? In verse 13, it talks about what the righteous does. They laughing at the wicked. Laughing at the wicked. For righteousness sees that the day of the wicked is coming to an end. So that's why I didn't have to retaliate against any vicious voicemail, because I know that stuff is coming to an end. That stuff is not going to last. Anger and hate and discrimination and homophobia and all this discrimination is coming to an end. Hating immigrants, people from hating people, black people hating other black people, that's coming to an end. Stop it. Just because somebody's from the Caribbean doesn't mean that does. Stop it. Okay? Because that stuff is coming to an end. In verse 14 now, it talks about, and I mentioned this earlier about these nations violent, right? Well, verse 14, it talks about the specificity of what the wicked is going to be doing. They're drawing the sword. They're drawing their sword. And when you draw a sword, you're preparing, you're clicking that gun or that rifle, and you're bending it, getting it ready to bring down the poor and needy, to slay those who way is upright. This is what's happening. People are doing that, trying to slay folks that are righteous, that are trying to do the good thing and trying to do the right thing. That's why people say the good always die young, because they want to do the right thing. You see people try to savings folks. So are you going to be a sacrificial lamb? That was already done for us. We already were bought and paid for. We do not need to put our hands into wrongness and try to save our physical life. Because guess what? The wicked that drawing the sword and bending their bows to bring down the poor and needy, trying to go and hurt people who poor and needy, and slaying those who is trying to walk in the righteousness of the Lord. Guess what? The sword or whatever they're using is going to enter their own heart. And their bows and whatever their guns they're trying to use is going to be broken. Telling you, it's going to enter into their own heart. And I saw this vision. I saw myself, I don't know where it was. Maybe it was in Africa. I was at an orphanage and children were around. I think I told you all this story. They were around me and we were gathered outside, and some soldiers came to kill us, basically, and take me. And I don't know what the heck they were going to do, but I stood there. And I stood in front of the children and I put my arms like this and I said, bless, I started calling. I put my hand, I said, Selassie the first, and I was just like, what in the world? I called the ancient name, you know. And I called that the ancient Kadamawe, I mean like real ancient name of the Most High. And these soldiers put their guns down and they walked the other way. They like turned around and like they were in a trance. I don't know what had happened, but this was a dream I had, a vision. And it just came over me how powerful love, because I felt this love. I didn't feel hate for them with them coming at me with this. I felt love like so deep in my heart for these children. And I looked at these children and they're mine. Not mine, but they belong to something higher. I'm a worker bee for the Most High, you know, and I'm working for righteousness to teach them that, to help them on their journey, these little children. And I just love little children because they're just innocent, and we are responsible for that innocence and keeping it intact, keeping that innocent intact. So that's why I don't expose children to television, violent video games, kill, 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 no. I want to expose them to righteousness because they're innocent. They're innocent and they should be exposed, and their innocence should be intact. They should be exposed to goodness. They should have a Crayola bucket of Crayola stuff where they can go sit on the floor and create art. I sent I think it was three Crayola buckets out. I sent one to Arkansas. I sent one to Texas, to Texas. I sent two to Texas, one to Arkansas, this Crayola buckets for children that I know. And it's important because it's when we look at the violence that's happening in our world today. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. You don't even have to be on here listening to me, but thank you for liking the video, for tuning in to Chant A Psalm A, where we translate the psalm. We talk about how it's relating to our lives and how we can be better with ourselves because it's within us. So in verse 16, well, the end of verse 15, these violence are going to be broken. They're going to enter into your own heart. So when you're sitting there playing violent video games, you're putting that on yourself. It's going to enter into you now. And someone is going to be violent with you because you're sitting there violently playing these games. And it's going to be broken. So knowing that, stop it. Like, find something else to occupy yourself, like coloring books and stuff like that, instead of these video games that are violent. I myself, I like Pac-Man, the Pac-Man, and you play the Pac-Man. Nobody wants to play that with me anymore. You're like, I want to play the Pac-Man and the ghosts, and they're running around and you're getting them. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And you're using words like get him instead of kill him. It's turned into that. It's turned into violence. So in verse 16 now, better is the little that the righteous has than the abundance of many wicked. So it's better than you have $1 in your account than having 1,000,000 and you're a wicked person. It's good if you got 1,000,000 and you're a good, righteous person, right? You're going to be generous because that's what the righteous does. They're generous and they give. But the wicked, they don't do that. They're in abundance and they're sitting on their Eiffel Tower. And guess what? They're like this, holding it like that. So in verse 17, we see that the arms of the wicked is going to be broken. However, the Lord upholds the righteous. Okay. I broke my arm because I was in a wicked, low energy situation. Instead of situation, I say it is a situation. It was shit. All right. And because of that wickedness, my arm broke. I fell. Yeah. However, the righteousness, even a little, it says, better is a little that the righteous has than the abundance of the wicked. That little bit of goodness in me held me up. Okay? That righteousness held me up. And I was thankful I could use my arm, this arm. I can use it. I can swim. I love swimming. Imagine if I couldn't have used it again. Imagine if when I fell, I didn't get back up. Because my dad, he fell, he didn't get back up. He didn't. So my son is, I told him to be a guest on my Chant A Psalm, and but maybe he may one day. We'll see. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. You don't even have to do that. Thank you so much. So we see that the arm of the wicked is going to be broken, right? And I shared what happened to me. And that was wicked. I was drinking alcohol in a car with folks I didn't even know. I mean, it was not good. And when you're at your lowest, this is when negative, demonic, wicked comes in and pulls you when you're at your weakest, lowest, point. And that's why we need each other to help us. We need, you need to be a team so that your partner isn't, um, exposed like that. But anyway, we look at this psalm, and what is this psalm? 37. Psalm 37, right? Psalm 37, verse verse 18. Righteousness knows the days of the blameless, and righteousness's heritage is going to remain for all time to come. So remember, I mentioned about the arm of the wicked. My arm was broken, and that happened to me because instead of being there for my partner at the time, right, I went out in a car with people I didn't know just to get away instead of being there for the person. So when that happened, when I returned now and was walking out of the vehicle and went to sit down, I didn't feel good. I felt sick. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to go lay down. And as I walked away to go lay down, I fell and broke my arm. So I looked at myself in that, and I didn't blame anyone else. I looked at myself that I went astray and this happened. Good thing I wasn't raped or murdered. So I was saved, right? And in verse 18, this is Psalm 37, verse 18, righteousness knows the days of the blameless, and the heritage of the blameless will remain forever, right? And the blameless are not put to shame in evil times. In the days when there's no food or there's no whatever, they're going to have it in abundance. So the wicked are not like that. The wicked are going to perish. That's just going to happen. I'm glad I didn't perish in terms of, I didn't make it. My arm is still attached to my body, thank goodness. But the wicked will perish. The enemies of righteousness are as the glory of the pastures. They're going to vanish as smoke. They're going to vanish away. So any enemy of righteousness, if you're an enemy of forgiveness, like you can't forgive, guess what? You're going to vanish. It's not going to do well with you. So it's best to forgive. I had to forgive. I had to really do that. And it's a process because I felt the weight lifting off of me when I forgave. So in verse 21, it speaks about what the wicked is going to give examples of defining who the wicked is, right? The wicked borrows, but they do not pay back. They would take from you, but they won't give you anything at all. The righteous now is generous and gives. Okay? The righteous is generous and gives. You have $1, you're going to take 50 cents, you're going to give to your partner 50 cents, right? That's a team. That's a relationship. So I knew someone who won like 4,000, didn't even give me $1. Not even $1. They'll, you have it. You don't need anything. Like, yeah, at least give me $2 or $5. Like, goodness. But some people are not like that. They will rather take than give. Because when they have, it's like they've never had as a child. So they want to use it all up for themselves because they don't know when they're going to have it again. Maybe that's the mentality. And that's a childhood trauma. Childhood trauma can happen not just physical, mental, emotional, and social trauma, but it can be financial trauma. And we don't talk about that enough. Childhood trauma can be financial trauma. It can be being poor and needy. That's traumatizing. That's when you grow up poor, being evicted, that's trauma for a child. So when they get to be an adult now and, they get a hold on to some money, they're not going to look at it in the same way maybe somebody else who hasn't had trauma would look at it as. So I'm going to talk about that in my Carla's Communication Corner about childhood trauma when it comes to financial trauma. So I got to write that down, y'all. That's a good topic. Financial childhood trauma. That's something that I see happens a lot. So, so the righteous is generous, right, and gives. And those that are blessed by righteousness is going to inherit the land. So we see inheriting the land again coming up. It was in verse 9. Now it's showing up again in verse 22. Blessed are those, I, blessed through righteousness, we're going to inherit the land. However, those who are cursed, who by their wrongness shall be cut off. Okay. And then verse 23 now, the steps of a person is established by righteousness. That's why I tell my children, I used to tell them, walk good when they would go to school. Walk good because their steps are established by righteousness. So I got to remind them, like, walk good, do good. How was your day? It was good. What was good about it? Tell me 2-3 things that was good about it. Come on. So in verse 23, we see that these steps are established by righteousness, and righteousness delights in the ways of righteousness. You're going to love to walk good. You're going to love to walk into righteousness. You're going to love to hold the door for someone. That's doing good. You're going to love doing kind things, right? This is what that righteousness is about when we look at it as the steps of you, I, being established by that righteousness. So verse 24 says, though the righteous fall, right? The righteous shall not be cast headlong, for the righteousness upholds their hand. The one that's fallen. Doesn't that sound familiar? I was just talking about that by myself, right? The person I was with, they ran across the the playground and went to the parking lot and picked me up, right? And this is, it's speaking of, because the righteous may fall, okay? I know I'm a good person, okay? And I went astray. I have fallen short of the glory, right? However, though I fell and broke my arm, I wasn't casted headlong. Okay? Let's look at the word headlong real quick. Headlong. That's a interesting word. With the head foremost, like falling on my head, right? But I did kind of taste the pavement in my mouth. And I was like, I thought I had fell on my face headlong like this, and my teeth was out. I thought that that's how I was, this was insanity. So I was not casted headlong, for righteousness upholds my hand. So I was held up. Even though I fell, I still was held up. So in verse 25, it speaks of, I have been young. I think this psalm is for me, Psalm 37, for real. I have been young, and now I am ancient, right? I'm 55. Yeah, 55, angel numbers. Yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, or the righteous's children begging for bread. I haven't seen that. And in verse 26, it talks about the righteous is ever lending generously. Always. I'm always giving. People call me, can you get $20? You got $20, you got this, that, you got that. And I'm always lending. I don't even lend. I say, don't pay me back. It's okay. Generously. And the children of righteousness become a bless because you are giving. You are, generous and give. So in verse, oh my goodness, this is 40 verses. We are on, where are we? Okay, yeah, verse 27. Turn away from evil and do good. So turn away from evil and do good. So shall I and I dwell goodness, right? We want to have a good outcome. We want to have a good outcome. So righteousness loves justice. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. Thank you so much. Righteousness loves justice. Remember I talked about Martin Luther King earlier. Righteousness will not forsake those that are righteous. They call them saints. Righteousness, righteous people, they are preserved for all time. Like they're preserved. They are held in great esteem. However, now the children of the wicked shall be cut off. This kind of is scary if you have children, right? And you're leaving vicious voicemails. Not good. So the vicious voicemail person, I sent their children a Crayola bucket. They probably threw it away. I don't know what they did with it. But I sent the children that because the children are innocent. They should not pay for what their adult, dysfunctional, mentally ill parents are doing, because people suffer from mental illness. And like I mentioned about the person who at 6 years old, their mother said they can't love them because they can't love themselves, right? And they were abusing them. So children suffer, children are innocent. So I sent the vicious voicemail, children a Crayola bucket with Crayola stuff, even, birdhouses, because birds are my friends and you can paint the birdhouses and put them up. And I don't know I think they must have threw it away. They said it was messy for me to do that, to send a kind gift. They looked at it as messy. But people who are wicked is going to look at that way because they're not righteous, so they don't know what that looks like. So it in verse 27, turn away from evil and do good, right? So you shall dwell for all time, right? For righteousness loves justice, all of that, and is not going to forsake the righteous. The righteous are preserved, but the children of the wicked is cut off. And the righteous shall inherit the land and dwell upon the land for all time to come. So in verse 30, we see the mouth of the righteous utters wise things, and the tongue of the righteous speaks justice. So when you hear somebody talking about the oppression of a society and the ideology of justice for the poor and needy, that's a righteous person, right? They're talking wisdom, and I don't even want to use dumb. Wise mind. They got a wise mind because they can see the foolery. The foolery. They can see the foolery. So when we look at verse 30 now, this mouth of the righteous and the justice that the righteous is speaking about, I mentioned Martin Luther King talking about that, right? And verse 31, the law of righteousness is in righteousness's heart. The law of righteousness is in that person's heart who is righteous. So whatever comes at them, any insecurities, they're going to deal with it in a righteousness, not a wickedness. Not leaving, voicemails vicious. You know what I mean? So we're going to be looking at righteousness inside I and I heart. That's the law in there. The law inside of me, I can't go retaliate against somebody who did me wrong. I can't go hurt somebody who did me wrong. I can't go and send a team out to go and deal with folks. No. I can't do that. That is not what we put to do. Because the law of righteousness is in my heart. And it's in my heart even more so that I've been through experiences of breaking my arm, breaking relationships, breaking up, breaking. Things have to break for you to snap out of, this illusion of inclusion. You're not included in nothing. Be included in the law of righteousness. That is what you need to include yourself into. So, and then you're not going to slip. Your steps aren't going to slip. So were I into righteousness instead of going in a car drinking alcohol, my foot wouldn't have slipped. I would have been okay. Right? I wouldn't have broke my arm if I had put myself somewhere else, doing something else righteousness, like go planting a tree, helping the homeless or something. People say unexpected things happen to good people. No, something you did is returning now, and you need to look at yourself. Stop looking at the outside for somebody else that did something to you. It's you. Somebody broke up with me. I'm not going to look at myself and say, they left me. I did. I was hurt, right? But I had to grow to the knowledge that it's not their fault. It's not them. It's not them. It's me. It's me. So in verse 32, the wicked watches for the righteous. They watching, folks. They watching me online here on my live. They watching like, where is she? Is she in Dallas? Is she in Texas? Is she in Arkansas? Is she in the Virgin Islands? Where is she? Where is Carmen Sandiego? So the wicked is watching for the righteous and seeking to put the righteous to death. They're trying to do that. Okay, they did that with Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, McConnell. I can go on with the list. But in verse 33, guess what? Righteousness is not going to abandon righteousness to the power of the wicked, or let righteousness be condemned when righteousness is brought to trial, or tribulations is happening to righteousness. Righteousness is going to be okay. They're not going to be condemned. So we see how in verse 32 and 33, the wicked is watching for the righteous. They ain't got nothing better to do than to sit there and watch for the righteous and planning to put them to death. That's why no weapon formed against anyone is going to prosper who is righteous. When you hurt a righteous person, you better be careful. So in verse 34, what do we have to do? Wait. Wait for righteousness and keep righteousness's way. Wait, I tell you. Don't go off pumping and grinding with somebody in the club and your wife or your husband is working out of town. Right? Wait for righteousness and keep righteousness's ways. And righteousness's ways is honesty. You can't be honest with someone and you go with someone else. How are you going to be honest with them? I would be wary about you. So guess what? Wait for righteousness and keep righteousness's way. And righteousness will exalt righteousness to inherit the land that is power. And you're going to look, righteousness is going to look on when the wicked are cut off. That's a specific sentence there. Righteousness is going to look on when, not how, but when the wicked are cut off. Okay? Verse 35, I have seen a wicked, ruthless person spreading theirself like a great laurel tree. Right? This was a ruthless person. They don't care who they hurt. They just out there, ruthless. However, this person passed away, and behold, they were no more. And though they were sought after, they couldn't be found. They were gone. So in verse 37 now, this is Psalm 37, verse 37, mark the blameless and behold the upright. For the blameless and the upright, there's a future for that one of tranquility and serenity. There's a future for that one. However, transgressors shall be altogether destroyed. The future of the wicked shall be cut off, meaning there's no future for the wicked. There's none. So get on the righteous road, because there is no future for the wicked. Verse 39, the salvation, and salvation means future. When I talk about salvation, I'm talking about future. That's why verse 38 says the future of the wicked shall be cut off, but the future of the righteous is from righteousness. Okay. And righteousness is a stronghold in time of trouble. In time of trouble. So you may find yourself in trouble. You may find yourself in a trial by fire. But guess what? Righteousness is the stronghold in time of trouble. So you got to hold on to that. Hold on to that stronghold in time of trouble. That's what you hold on to. That's what you hold on to. Hold on to that. Not someone else, and you're trying to control and manipulate a person into being with you. I could see through that like a big time. So in the end of this psalm, it talks about righteousness being a strength and delivering from this wicked and saving from the wicked, because righteousness is a refuge to ones and ones. But it's up to ones to receive it. I receive righteousness today. Do you receive righteousness? Are you going to stand in righteousness, or are you going to stand in wickedness? You have to decide that. And many are called in the name of Jesus, but few are chosen to live that way. Few are chosen to give of themselves generously and give. Few are chosen. So let's look at the verse today really quick, because the word today is faith and hope. So hope and faith. So before I go to the word today, thank you for liking this video, by the way. Really, honestly, thank you for liking it. The verse today is verse 2 and 14. Verse 1 and 2 and 14. This is from John 1. So basically John 1 verse 1 and then verse 14. So let's look at it. It says, in the beginning was the Word, right? And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But people are using the words in a weird way now. Instead of people apologizing, oh, my apologies for that, they use my bad. That's what people say. My bad. It's my bad. It's I'm the one that's bad. I'm bad. No, you're not bad. You made a mistake. You're not bad. You're good. So when you keep using words like that, you're going to attract that you are using. You're going to attract bad when you keep using my bad, my bad. You got to rephrase it. I am good. My apologies. I am good. My apologies. I am good. Okay? Because in the beginning was the Word. Remember, the Word was with God and the Word was God. God is the Word. So when I talk about the Word and I look at words, and sometimes people say, oh, it's not literally, I'm not speaking that literally, and this. I people are not speaking. The word of God is rare. In other words, it's rare. And when I look at the verse today about the word became flesh. It came to the earth and became flesh and was crucified because everybody else wanted to use other words that were not God words. So when I look at the words today, hope and faith, these are words. Thank you for liking this video. Oh my goodness, I really appreciate that. Hope and faith are words that, according to John number 1, that in the beginning was these words, was the Word, and the Word was God. The Word was with God, and God is righteousness. God is love and kindness and mercy and faith and hope and love and forgiveness and long suffering. That's what God represents. So in the beginning was the Word. So if God is the Word, why are you using words that are not of God? Explain that. You call Jesus' name. People say in Jesus' name, amen, and all of that, right? You use those words. But then behind that, it's a whole different kind of words you're using. So I always say you are going to attract the words that you use. So when someone says F me, when they're making love, they F me, F me, F me. That's what's you're gonna attract that. Somebody's gonna F you. Yeah. Make love, love me, make love to me, using words like that attracts that to you. So the words hope and faith, as we transition to the words today from the verse today, I'm inspired by hope and assured by faith. I begin my Advent journey. So this December 1st is the first day of Advent. We're looking at the new moon. The new moon is coming. We have a full moon coming up around the 15th of the month. Full moon is going to be coming up around the 15th of the month. But today, the first of the month, we're in that new moon. It's a new moon. It's time for new renewal. So how are you going to enjoy this Sunday in a renewal, renewing yourself, right? So as Advent begins, I welcome the opportunity to reflect more deeply, right, on what I hope for and what I affirm for my life, right? Hope is a seed, a possibility. Remember I said you are the good soil. So hope is a seed, just like faith, forgiveness, long suffering, humility, integrity, honesty, loyalty. All those are seeds that you plant within your good soil. So my divine faculty of imagination allows the seed of hope to sprout. Nurtured by faith, the seed takes root and grows from I hope to I know, I believe. I may have once hoped God would help me. Now I have faith that through the Christ within, I can help myself. So Instead of looking and waiting for something on the outside to help you, you look within yourself, because what's inside of you is greater than what's outside. So I may have once hoped for the life of my dreams. Now I have faith I can create the life I want through the power of my feelings and thoughts. So I believe, I know, I am aware. Okay? Knowledge is power, remember that. I mindfully use these words as the start of my Advent journey and beyond. So, in using hope and faith, right? That it begins from within. So, from within, once you plant these seeds of hope and faith, guess what's going to sprout? What is going to sprout? What is going to sprout? So, this word today is brought to us by Colossians chapter 1, verse 27. And chapter 1, verse 27 of Colossians states, "To I and I, God chose to make known how great among other people are the riches of the glory of the mystery of God, that is Christ in you. In you, the hope of glory." So we see that Christ is in you. Colossians talk about it, right? And then the word today is talking about it too. So we have, it's in our Psalm today, 37. It's in our word today from John number 1, verse 1 to 2 and verse 14. So this is, I'm not making this stuff up. This is not something I created. It's there. The answers are within you. When somebody calls me and they're like, I don't know what to do, the answers are within you. You've been looking outside of yourself for so long instead of holding on to what is inside of you. That is that love that people see and they want to control. So be free. Be free to love, be free to live, and be free to stay in the light. And to know that you are right. You are kind and righteous and loving. And all of it is going to return to you once you stay within that space. So thank you. We're at the hour. Oh my goodness. Thanks for joining Chant A Psalm A Day and for being here and present. I appreciate everyone. Selah and Selah again. Thanks so much. Have a blessed day, everyone. And remember, stand in love, don't fall in it. Let me get up closer. Stand in love, don't fall in it. Okay? Do not fall in it. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you, Elsu. I appreciate you all too so much. I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Elsu. Take good care. Have a blessed day.